Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video on The Flash and Arrow. Today we've got an interesting interview that Stephen Amell did with TV Line. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. Okay, so this is very interesting. The article is titled, Stephen Amell doesn't think he's done playing Green Arrow. That's a teaser for you guys. But first things first, I want to remind you guys, you can become a member of the channel by clicking the join button. There is quite a few perks to being a member of the channel, including joining me on a members live stream. So if that interests you, click the join button down below. But for now, a big shout out to my top tier members, that being Nathan Bell, Owlwatch, Bradley Rollins, Flash Freak, and Jose Zapta. Thank you all for supporting the channel. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this article. Okay, so this once again is coming from TV Line. Link will be in the description below if you want to go read it after this video. But as I said, this is all about Stephen Amell because he did an interview with TV Line, and this is how it goes. Stephen Amell firmly believes he still has some arrows left in his quiver. This week on the CW's Flash, Amell of course reprised his role as Oliver Queen / the Spectre / Green Arrow more than 3 years after the Arrowverse's flagship series wrapped its 8th season. This is a quote from Stephen: "Going back and doing that was really exciting, but also by the end of the second night filming those fight scenes, I was like, okay, that's enough," he told TV Line whilst laughing. Yet when TV Line asked Amell if he now feels if he's truly suited up for the very last time as the Emerald Archer, he was quick to say, "I don't think so." And this is where it gets juicy, guys, so listen up. Any next round as Green Arrow though would have to be a more finite timetable, according to Stephen Amell. We had a good run on the CW in the Arrowverse, but the idea of 22 or 23 episodes a year, that's a very specific way to make television with act breaks and all those things. I had my fill of playing Arrow in that particular medium. And then Stephen goes on to say, but the idea of going back and doing something on a limited basis or doing a movie is absolutely of interest to Amell, he said. He goes on to reflect about the fight sequences shown in the new flashbacks in Arrow's final hour, and maybe exaggerating a smidgen, Amell said, "We had scenes in our series finale where I must have killed about 100 people, but we were never allowed to show any blood. A lot of this hand-to-hand stuff can pack so much more punch if we have a little more freedom in terms of what we can show, as would be the case with a streaming series or a DC movie, for example." So there you have it. That is Stephen Amell himself indicating and putting it out there to the rest of the world that he would love to continue being the Green Arrow. And honestly, I love to hear it. This is exactly what I want to hear from some Arrowverse actors, because I feel like there's more life in it, and I feel like after the Flash ends, and if Superman Lois doesn't go on much longer because of the CW and the way that they're doing things now, I feel like it's just going to be a waste. Like, there is a lot more life in it, and I love that Stephen, even though he finished filming Arrow and Arrow released its final episodes like 3 years ago, he's now down to come back and do more. And so I love that he was quick to say, "I don't think so," in terms of suiting up for the final time. And so he says specifically, and this is in quite a lot of detail, that he would like to continue as Green Arrow, but do it on a more finite timetable. So it would not be the 23-22 episodes a year that they used to do. As he says, it's a very specific way of making television, and he says he's had his fill of playing Arrow in that particular way, in that medium, but he wants to see Green Arrow live on and continue in a different medium. So I have no idea if there's any behind the scenes talk. You would love to think that there is, but obviously this is maybe just him getting out there that he is interested, and he does have the power. Like, if he does pitch this to someone at Warner Brothers, I'm sure it could potentially be a real thing on a limited basis, like an Arrow revival, but in the form of like a limited series, so like maybe 10 episodes or 6 episodes, just like they do with some of the other TV shows out there. Obviously, it would give them more freedom to maybe be a little bit more brutal. As he says at the end of the article when talking about the fight scenes, like in their series finale, he thinks it would have been a little bit more impactful if there was some blood, just to emphasize what he's doing and, you know, the ferociousness of Green Arrow when he's fighting, obviously. And so he even mentions not just a limited series, but maybe doing a movie. And so this is something that I've been talking about for a while. I feel like they should do a big reunion Arrowverse movie, or whether it's just an Arrow movie, that would be insanely good. That would be perfect to go side by side alongside James Gunn and Peter Safran's current plans for the DCEU. This would be more along the lines of what they are doing with the Batman and what they're doing with Joker, you know, going on that kind of darker edge. And I think it would be perfect as an Elseworlds movie, but obviously that would be continuing the Arrowverse, so it would be the first Arrowverse movie, because we haven't had any of those. We've had 5-episode crossovers, we've had many big things in the past in TV, but I like the way that Steven is thinking beyond the CW, because I think he realizes the CW is pretty much done with the Arrowverse at this point, and we've all realized that already. So I think, yeah, time to expand, time to think bigger, time to think about pitching to other places, whether that be the new Max. I don't know if they would ever greenlight a limited series. I guess if there was some big names in the mix, so like Stephen Amell, if Greg Berlanti backed him, and if there was a couple of other people, maybe like Grant Gustin showing up in the series, maybe that would get the go-ahead at Max. And in terms of a movie, obviously they would probably get like a more limited budget movie, but if they get like a decent amount of money and they can actually do it with Warner Brothers' backing, that would be insane. Like a more brutal Arrow film that would be a continuation of obviously the series and where it ended at the end of season 8. So obviously Steven did return in The Flash last week, and so this is why there is all of these interviews out there. But he said he made sure that when he signed up to play Oliver once again in The Flash, he made sure they gave some reference to the future of Arrow, which very much so lines up to what he's talking about here. Maybe he was setting the groundwork for future content with Arrow, and maybe the cog's even rolling and we just don't know it yet. So potentially we could be seeing an Arrow film or an Arrow limited series that would be a continuation. I think fans would go nuts for that, especially it's been years since Arrow ended and everyone went nuts for this Flash episode, and I think that's just basis to show there is still a big fan base out there for Arrow specifically. And so in that episode right at the end, they alluded to Felicity and the way that that kind of situation ended with Arrow season 8, and then also there was talk of Mia still being amazing at the salmon ladder, which obviously Oliver was great at before, and then also his son as well, William, he's at college, so that's just another continuation. And also you have to remember there is that Justice U project that was going on. I don't know if they would somewhat incorporate the two. It seemed like maybe they're a little bit different, but John Diggle and David Ramsey of course is involved in both of those. I guess if they were to do an Arrow continuation, they would have to get David Ramsey, and I'm pretty sure he would be totally down to come and do that series or do that film, and maybe he could even direct it himself, because he's directed a lot of the episodes in the Arrowverse. So once again, I just have to emphasize, this would be a dream come true, honestly, if we got a continuation after Arrow season 8, and even if we don't get many crossovers, just having a potential project that is Arrowverse linked still be there in the future and for us to hope for, or hopefully to look forward to, would be the best thing for us Arrowverse fans, because I feel like we've been given a really bad deal in the last few years since we found out the CW was being taken over. It's been taken over by these people, Nexstar, who really don't care about the content on the CW, the fictional content and the genre shows. All they care about is making money, and so the Arrowverse isn't fitting into that, because obviously it's a little bit more expensive than some of their other projects that they intend to do. So as Steven says, I think the days of the CW and the Arrowverse being linked are pretty much done and over. They've had a good run in the past, but the idea of doing the typical way of making the Arrowverse shows with like 22, 23 episodes, making that specific type of television with, you know, breaks and different stories at different points is probably over, and maybe the Arrowverse could continue in limited form with different limited series, potentially at HBO Max, which is now turning into Max, or a movie, as he says. And obviously I think we would all be down for both of those, and I don't know what's the best option? Like, would you guys prefer a movie or an Arrow limited series? Let me know down in the comments down below. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. And just generally, are you excited at the potential for Stephen Amell to suit up once again, but as a even more dark and gritty Green Arrow than we've ever seen him before, if such a project would to come into existence in the future? Plus also, do you think Stephen is working on something, and maybe that's one of the reasons that he was like, we have to include this at the end of the Flash episode just to kind of tease the fans for more? But that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. It really helps out the channel. Also subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already. We are uploading daily right now, so check out all my videos and don't miss any future videos. So for now, click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.